You may wonder, why do people risk their lives climbing mountains? Why do they leave behind safety, comfort, and even loved ones to face thin air, freezing winds, and deadly cliffs? Psychologists suggest there are several reasons. Some climbers are driven by sensation seeking, a personality trait where people crave extreme experiences that test their limits. Others speak of the summit fever, the irresistible pull to reach the top even at great personal risk. And then there is the oldest reason of all, the desire to conquer the unconquered. As George Mallory, an early Everest climber, famously said when they asked why he wanted to climb, because it's there. But when it comes to testing the human spirit, no mountain looms larger or deadlier than Mount Everest. Mount Everest rises 8,849 meters above sea level, making it the tallest point on Earth. It is part of the Himalayas, a massive mountain range formed about 50 million years ago when the Indian tectonic plate collided with the Eurasian plate. This collision is still happening today, pushing Everest a few millimeters higher every year. Everest is not just tall, it is massive. The mountain stretches across the border of Nepal and the Tibet Autonomous Region of China. Climbing Everest is not like hiking a tall hill. The risks are extreme, and they begin even before reaching the summit. Avalanches sweep away climbers in seconds. Ice falls, unstable towers of ice that can collapse without warning, are among the most feared obstacles. Crevasses, the hidden cracks in glaciers, they can swallow climbers whole. But the most dangerous part is the altitude. Above 8,000 meters lies the infamous death zone. Here, oxygen levels are just one third of what we breathe at sea level. The human body cannot survive long in this environment. Even with bottled oxygen, Everest feels like carrying stones. Climbers suffer from hypoxia, low oxygen in the brain, causing confusion, poor judgment, or hallucinations. Pulmonary edema, fluid in the lungs, making breathing nearly impossible. Cerebral edema, swelling in the brain, leading to dizziness, coma, or death. That is why Everest has claimed more than 300 lives. Some of those bodies remain on the mountain, preserved by ice, silent reminders of the ghost of chasing the summit. The dream of conquering Everest began with the British in the 1920s. At that time, Nepal was closed to foreigners, so expeditions approached from Tibet. One of the most famous attempts was in 1924 when George Mallory and Andrew Irwin set out for the summit. They were last seen climbing high on the mountain and then disappeared into the clouds. To this day, it is debated whether they reached the top before they died. Mallory's body was only discovered in 1999. The remains of Irwin was found in Everest in 2024. This discovery made by a National Geographic team 100 years after the mountaineer vanished with George Mallory. Photographer and filmmaker Jimmy Chin was leading a National Geographic team below the north face of Mount Everest in September 2024 when they discovered a boot and sock embroidered with A.C. Irwin, believed to belong to the lost mountaineer Andrew Irwin. In 1953, a large British-led expedition set out once more. It was a massive effort, over 350 porters, 20 Sherpa guides, and dozens of climbers, carrying tons of supply up the mountain. Among them were two men who would make history: Edmund Hillary, a tall beekeeper and mountaineer from New Zealand, and Tenzing Norgay, a skilled Sherpa climber who had attempted Everest 6 times before. The expedition faced brutal conditions: blizzards, freezing nights, and exhausting climbs. Step by step, they set up camps higher and higher on the mountain. On May 29, 1953, Hillary and Tenzing left their high camp, carrying oxygen tanks and sheer determination. The last stretch was the hardest. At one point, they faced a near vertical cliff of ice, now famous as the Hillary Step. With his ice axe, Hillary carved a tiny step into the wall, while Tenzing followed close behind. After hours of struggle, at 11:30 a.m., they stepped onto the summit of Mount Everest. For the first time in human history, the highest point on Earth had been reached. Today, Everest attracts thousands of climbers every year. Technology, better gear, and commercial expeditions have made it more accessible, but the dangers remain, and yet the dream continues. So, why do we climb mountains? Perhaps it's not just for the summit. Perhaps it is for the journey, the struggle, and the reminder for people that within them lies the strength to overcome the impossible.